door. So and obviously if you're using the mud, you'd have a slightly different colour as well. So there we go, that's by using the black. Okay, so say this is going to take about 20 minutes to dry. What I'll do is I'm going to put a bit of mud around this rear one, let all these dry, and then you can come back and we can actually wipe it off and you can see some more better sort of brickwork. And there we go, that's totally dry. Now to be honest, I sped this up a little bit by giving it a blow round with a hairdryer. Cool setting just to speed things up. So as you can probably see, if we bring you in a little bit closer here, you can see here pretty white looking because we've got the brickwork done with grey. Okay. Doors done with a little bit of brown, just getting in the recesses you see in a minute. Roof, you see we've got the black, so now we can see all the tiles individually, gives it a nice depth there. Okay, round on this side we've got the black wash, which gives you quite a lot of interesting look to your brickwork, as you can probably see there. And on this side we've got the brown wash, so depending on what colour you have, will give you a different type of effect. Now, the brickwork around here being very sort of grimy, it's on a flat coat, it's covering nicely. Obviously you could probably get away with just like that. The same with the brown, but certainly around here for the brickwork with the grey, it's a little bit too much. So what we do, we just grab a little bit of kitchen roll, okay, like this. Okay, we moisten it, you know, I lick it, but you could use anything you like, really, a pad. Okay, and then we're just going to give it a bit of a rub and take off the excess. And that way it just sticks into all the recesses, and hopefully the brickwork that we had will show through quite nicely. So we just have to pop everywhere and just knock off the top bits. We're just going to give it a bit of a rub around that door so it's just staying in the recesses, and obviously it just gives it a bit of a grimy look to the door now. Okay, let's carry on around here. Okay, and the door we give around. So there we go, that gives us that type of effect there. Now over here on where the black is, we'll do the same. Okay, we're just going to wipe off all the excess that's on the top of the bricks. You'll find you won't get much because it will want to sink to the lower levels. But around this door we can just take a little bit off to clean it up. We've got a little bit too much dirt going on if we were up there. Same with this brickwork. Just clean it off. Now if you wanted it to be a nice clear with the brickwork, certainly a nice clean effect, we would have put down a gloss coat. It would have protected more and it would have wiped off a lot easier. But you can probably see there, we get a nice brickwork effect, say with the brown, with there. It's just over here and the camera's sort of bleaching it out a really bit to do this sort of white stone work slightly different. Same with your ridge tiles on the roof. You're not going to need much, but just give to get off any excess that we've got too much of up there. We can just wipe away to give our roof tiles that type of look to it. So there we go, that's really the basics of getting the washes on there. Now if you wanted to go around, and obviously there's other things you can do with the washes, you can put down streaks, so we could come up with some rust here with the wash and put it around this door, and we're going to say it's a metal door and things like that, and certainly with these bullet holes and bits and pieces. But what you can do with the pigments, which are a little bit messy, so if we just move on to sort of using these pigments now. Now the pigments themselves basically will look like this. They're very, very dusty. Okay, so just be careful how you're using them. Don't use them in a windy day. Extremely, extremely fine. So what we'll do, we'll start on the roof, for instance, and for the roof we're going to use the green. Now it might seem a bit funny to be using this green colour, but it's a light dusty green, and hopefully it will just give us that effect of sort of dust up there. So you want a dryish brush, not totally dry because you need it to stick to it a bit. So put it in some water over here. Okay, if we just zoom you out a sec, if we go over here, we've got just plain water in there, over to a paper towel, which is just out of the way. We can use one here, and we're going to wring it out totally, but it's got enough on there to be able to grip it. Otherwise you put it in dry brush, it comes out hardly got anything on there. So we're just going to dab it in the pot like this. Okay, if we bring you in again. Alright, then we're just going to come across and we're just going to dust it on a few little places from the top just like so, and perhaps a little bit of a brush around in certain little places. Okay, I'm just going to give it a gentle rub around. Okay, you might be able to see we start to get different sort of hues of colour coming through. Okay, so we just take a little bit more. Okay, come over here. Okay, put it in the tiles here. Put some over here. Okay, we just knock off the excess back into the pot. Okay, and if we give it a bit of a rub around everywhere, you might be able to see, it's not easy to pick up on camera, but we sort of get a faded effect going into these tiles, just like that. Okay, and what you can do, you can take a little bit down here. Okay, we're just going to brush it in the bottom of these bit of stonework down here. Okay, a bit just running around all round the bottom, just like so. Okay, so we just take a little bit more. So very little is required, and I'm doing it over the pot so the excess refalls back down there. Okay, and we can just go around and pop it all on the lower surfaces, and we're just going to give it a good old brush to really blend it in. But we can get this, and this is sort of dust marks, scuff marks coming up off the floor, you know, all those little things you get. Okay, so we're just going to go around like that, just in those. Okay, and then we're going to take a different colour, so perhaps this time we're going to use something like the dark dirt. Okay, come along with the dark dirt, same thing, tiny bit of water on the brush and knock most of it off. Take a little bit on the bottom, okay, and we're just going to go along the bottom with it, just like so, to give a sort of dirty line to it all. Okay, and then the same along here. Alright, dry off the brush completely, back into the powder, okay, and we're going to go right over the top. And what it will do, it will stick to the stuff that's on there. So say, do it over the pot and it will fall back in. And it will give us hopefully a very nice, very dirty look to all this paintwork. So we'll take that off, okay. Okay, just brushing it in now, just blending in. Okay, so as you can see, we've got it running down the bottom here, just down here, and the different types of things going on there. So also what you can do, perhaps you would get dirt lines running down. So what we'll do, we'll take some water off of the corners, perhaps of this window system. Okay, so we're just coming in with the dirt, okay, and just following it down. Okay, putting the dust right the way over. Give it a bit of a blow. Okay, make sure that brush is nice and dry. Okay, and then we're just going to come along and knock off the excess. Bit of powder on the brush, down to each side. Clean the brush off, just off to one side, and then flick. And there we go, we get this type of staining effect as it's running down, as it would do around windows, and obviously we'll do the same up around the lintel area and things like that. Another one we'll do just here, we're going to grab a little bit of the rust. So say it's this very bright, looks on camera, it's not too bad when you actually get into it. Okay, now for the rust we do something slightly different. Okay, we'll take a little bit of a pot just here, bit of water, just normal plain water in the tub, some of the rust. Okay, you might be able to see it just down here. So a bit more, make it a nice thick consistency, so really we're making a paint. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we're just going to put a tiny bit around this door. Okay, I'm just going to drain it off down the bottom of the door handle, just like this, and then just a tiny spot around what are those bullet holes, but we're going to assume that it's a steel door. just put them in. Okay, clean brush, as we said before, one pass straight down. Okay, so we get this type of rusty effect. So that's on like that. Dry the brush off. In with the powders. Okay, and then all we're going to do is just going to put the powders right on top of those rust holes and pull them down. And then we're going to come along with the dark dirt over the top and pull it all down. And then taking a clean cotton bud, wet it. I'm just going to lick it just a touch, drag it straight down. And it gives us that type of drawn down look to it. And obviously we've still got that sort of rusty colour going in and amongst it. And it just gives us that type of effect. And then we've got a little bit too much dirt running down the bottom, so we're just going to take that off. Cotton bud down, just like so, just to give us that type of effect. And that's it. And what you can do, you can go around and obviously using the pigments, you know, the dark dirt's obviously a good one for this. You can literally go around, and if we come along to this front that's a little bit light, we can put it right the way over the top. Okay, and just brush it all around, making sure we get it in all that brickwork. It's all very nice. Okay, and then just dust it around a bit, and we can just rub that in. And there we go, we changed that colour of the brickwork very, very nicely. Okay, and that's the beauty with this. You can just keep going over it, building up layers as and when you like. Got a tiny bit going on there. Okay, the door work. So what we'll do, we'll take a little bit of water, a little bit of the dark dirt. Okay, just in to make the water. Okay, this door, we're going to darken it up a little bit more. So we're just going over it, streaking down to give that sort of wood effect. Okay, perhaps up on this lintel, we'll give it a little bit of dirt so it's getting a little bit clean. Same with this lintel over here. Okay. And there we go. Then once that dries, hopefully it'll dry quite evenly and we can move on. Other things you can do, which are quite fun things to do with these things. Got here just a normal plastic pot, okay. What we're going to do, we're going to put some PVA clear glue. This is just the normal white glue you get for kids. Little blob of that goes in the bottom. Okay, and then let's pick a colour. Let's get some lids on here. Let's pick a little bit of dark dirt. Okay, so we're going to get some dark dirt. Pick up just a little bit into the mix. Okay, and then what we're going to do is give this a good old mix. Give all that glue. Okay, and then we just add a little bit more. And what you want it to do, it will get very, very thick as you mix in. Still quite runny, a bit too much glue, so we'll take a bit more. In it goes. And you know when you're getting there because it goes very, very stiff. There we go. Now we're there. Now we've got something that's quite consistently. It looks like really brown PVA glue, but very much thicker. So we'll add just a tiny bit more in there. Just to really get this, and obviously the more pigment you add, the thicker this will get. Just remember that, okay, because it's quite important. So then what you can do, you can come along, you have it like this, and you can say, right, okay, we want to soup up this sort of brickwork area going around in here. Okay, so we're just going to pat this on, and this will dry rock hard. Yeah, it's a bit too smooth, so we're going to make it quite rugged all around this area in here.